Hello, this is Lewis Black. I'm one of the people who've helped find and restore Eggshells. I'm talking to Toby Hooper about the movie. And now we're watching Grackles.
We're watching the Grackles that.
I love the color. I mean, I like the fact that it's so faded. What's the word? Chiresco, is it? There's a word.
Yeah. Well, it's the Godfather look to me.
Yes.
I mean, it's that amber, beautiful time of day, and yeah. This was shot after the commune house and during some of the special effects shooting that we'll see later on, like the sword fighting with yourself.
Because I love the way it looks and I like the whole movement of it, but it's always seemed to me to be a little bit odd for the rest of the movie, because it's this long trip into Austin,
Yeah.
and then it doesn't. The rest of the movie doesn't really relate to it in any way, except for her.
For her, and then she comes back, and I just felt, that's
I'm very. I mean, I think it looks great, and you get to see old Texas towns. This shot.
yeah. I mean, to me, that said the time and the age. I mean, that's a funky shot. Someone's popping their pimple.
And she just goes at it for a while.
Yeah, she does. Now we see her later. I mean, she's introduced later, but since she isn't a movie star, it may take you some time to notice that this is the girl that we take our trip with into Austin.
So she's going to college for the first time.
She's going away to college.
And parents are driving her in the truck.
From the farm or a community 100 miles, say, away from Austin. Yeah, she has her suitcase there, and this is her exposure to a new world, a psychedelic world, a world actually, a beautiful world, but also a time that is a time of conflict in our country.
And there's a time that ends with a lot of loss.
A lot of loss.
I love this.
I mean, that had to be there.
Yes.
I always saw that growing up. I mean, I love this. I love this tower, and it was always, when it was a little boy looking at this, and the clocks lit up at night, and then we go to, of course. I mean, this is. The most extras I've had in any scene.
So you just shot a demonstration?
Yeah.
Was it one or a couple of?
No, it was one. It was one demonstration, one quite long demonstration, and but of course one of many.
Yeah, this is all from one.
Yeah, this is all from one.
And there's the tower
That's that great tower.
And you were there on campus when Charles Whitman.
I was, and and the clock was being shot, and the bells were chiming. Soon we're going to see a shot. It's a brief shot, but it's of a publication during these times called The Rag. That was, well, you should talk a little bit about.
Well, the interesting one, the Texas Observer already started publishing, but that was very liberal. The Rag was radical, and Jeff Sharrow changed his name to Jeff Nightbird, who helped start the Rag, also helped start the Rat in New York, and the Austin Sun in Austin later on. So he was very involved, and for a long time, the Rag was one of the better known political, underground publications.
This character, I think his name is Smokey, had a much larger part in the film. He was kind of this traveling prophet, but it got kind of dark, his story. which I think I should come to later, or because we're watching this. This particular demonstration ends with this shot. I think it's a very famous image where this coffin is being pushed up and with painted like an American flag.
And the cops seem very friendly.
They're very friendly. I mean, they're loaded for trouble here, but the well, I mean, I have to call them hippies because that's what it was all about. You know, they were shaking hands with the police, and even though the police, it was quite common to hear the police call pigs. I mean, you know, I mean that's, and I think that was just kind of, well, I don't know. There's that shot.
I was in Boston for a lot of this, and whenever there was a march like this, the real extreme radicals would start breaking bank windows, and then the cops would beat up everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, but it wasn't the cops starting it. I love this with the black woman giving the peace
sign. Yeah. Yeah, and this was after Kent State, right? This was.
Yes.
It was. Yeah. No, because that was during. They talk about that during Peter, Paul, and Mary documentary that I made before this.
But it was incredible to discover what a hotbed of political activity Austin was. I love where they're shaking hands with the cops.
I do too. I mean, you know, peace was being made and things were. Yeah, I mean, things could have gotten out of hand, but.
And even though it's hippies, they're also clean cut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For lots of white shirts.
Yeah, and
not all of them.
But not as much as the freaks.
Right.
That they call it.
Well, that's one of those distinctions that I'm embarrassed to make now. But freaks were definitely much more street than hippies.
Yeah.
Hippies were loving peace, and freaks were Frank Zappa and.
Right. Yes.
Now that's an interesting shot.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And that was in
there's the rag. Yeah.
That's the rag.
So she was just looking in a store window?
Yes, come to town and saw all these nice little crystal objects and rings and things down on the drag, and is making her way to town, making her way to a new way of life, to University of Texas.
Some of those statues were of Confederate generals, which most people don't. So I thought having them, festooned with the red.
It was cool, and showing the long hair.
Yeah.
That was.
So this was a house on Avenue F.
This was
a group of friends of yours rented.
Yes.
All right, now let's talk about my favorite scene that's about to come up.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's really cool. This is an ethereal character. You never see him interact with the other characters, and they don't seem to recognize him. And he has something to do with the that is Ben Skabarsek, that is rumored to live in the house, and but he's on kind of in another dimension, actually.
Now, how did this whole scene with the paper plane come about?
It was. I mean, the plane's all decked out with the psychedelic colors, and it came about by wanting this little plane of the times to fly into the house and explode as though it had napalm in it, and
I've thought of that as a Bob Burns touch, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't. Bob may have done the artwork on it, but
I mean, I think that up until now you're not sure about the film, and then all of a sudden that plane thing says we make the rules.
Yeah. There's going to be something strange about this, but but as weird as it gets, there is a consistency to it. And,
Yes.
And of the two stories and that becoming part of kind of leading. I mean, that character takes other characters away into kind of the ether and spirit of it at the end, and the other characters reintegrate into kind of, shall I say, normal life. I don't.
We've already passed it, but the scenes where the leaves are blowing and then they blow by the is the first moment where I saw Chainsaw in this movie. You know, the whole use of the environment in a different way.
Yeah.
Now, who are these people?
Well, that's Amy, and I was asked by them to change their names, and so but that's Amy. Should I say the name? I believe her last name was Schnall, and David Spa. And Boris Schnurr there talking is actually Kim Hinkle, who was my best friend, and he and I wrote the screenplay for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
And what people who weren't alive then don't get is how serious the conversations often were. You know, about meaning and religion and spirituality.
People were serious.
And pretentious.
And pretentious. And the style of life, too, was totally wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great not to be over there and being shot at. I mean, there was some danger here, but I think, you know, the lifestyle was it's too bad it isn't that way still.
I love with her walking by the windows and then you cut down to this guy who's clearly a little possessed.
Yeah, he definitely is, and he's typing here, and the poetry is all metaphors. Basically, this poem is about the crew when he's talking about beard trying, and they have little boxes with little wheels that it means wheels that make your voice come back again, and he's talking about the Nagra, and he's talking about the camera, and he's talking about, and in some ways in a negative way, he's talking about some of the crews, some of the crew were kind of not as involved as say I was. Oh, that's Sharon.
Sharon Denziger and Alan Denziger. I met Sharon 4 or 5 years later in Boston because I knew her cousin. And so the little baby I knew when he was growing up. He now has 2 kids of his own.
The baby does?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Sells gold, I think.
Is that right?
And Alan is in Texas Chain, so this is not Alan.
Yeah. But yeah, Alan did such a good job in this, and in being able to, you know, recreate and go over the.
That's Sharon.
That's Sharon. Sharon's a lot.
I still talk to Sharon.
You do? I love Sharon.
I will tell you, she's quite lovely, and he's now a father.
That is it.
And there's Alan.
And Alan, of course, is Jerry in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Where he drives the van.
He drives the van.
And in real life, Alan starts Three Ring Circus, which is a company where if you want clowns or something weird for a child's party or an adult party, I mean, he literally provides all kinds of services along those lines. And he asks for a copy of Eggshells every time he sees Sharon. They've been divorced for quite a while.
They have.
Oh, I think they got divorced fairly early on.
You know, Alan's natural born entertainer. He was a total natural.
Sharon would tell me stories about Kinky Friedman showing up at their house,
Right.
Richard Friedman, and talking about how he was going to change his name to Kinky Friedman and become like a Texas, true boy troubadour. And she was like, "Oh, stop it!"
Right. Yeah, I knew Kinky.
And that's
Still know Kinky.
Is that Amy or
That's Amy.
yeah?
Where'd she come from?
They were Houston, and
Do you know what happened with her at all, or?
no, I don't. But you do. Right?
Oh, you can't talk.
I shouldn't.
Oh,
They came down to the screening. She was upside down.
yeah. Oh, she. Oh, right.
How's she look?
About the same, actually.
Right, and he's
It's a
probably
hype,
crippled or
Amy.
something.
Amy, it's a hype to get your money and to get the deed transferred.
No, really. I mean, honestly, I really heard the footsteps.
I'm sure you did.
And like they didn't go back down the stairs. Okay?
You mean you just heard him one way?
Yes, they only
Slid
went
down the
up.
banister. On the
No,
razor blade of
I
light.
really, I was logically trying to explain this thing to myself.
You've been preset for that, Amy. You know,
Look at that. Alan's just such a natural. He's so comfortable.
Yes. He's-
Now, what's the kid's name? Jason, Joshua.
I don't recall. Now, they really thought that there was a ghost in the house. I mean, they really thought that there was sounds and creaks. And of course, that house you're going to hear sounds and creaks and all of that.
When you live in old houses, there's lots of unexplained noises.
Yeah.
But it could be a ghost.
And here it comes.
And I really like the pixelation.
This is the hyperelectric
Right.
cryptoembryonic or presence.
Hypoelectric, cryptoembryonic.
And there's cryptoembryonic hyperelectric presence.
I see.
And it just it takes its little tour around F Street and the campus, and now it's deciding to kind of bed down for a while and go down into the basement of this place, and this happens before they move in. So actually, this is a flashback scene. This is setting up what this.
See, I didn't realize it was flashback, but you've already put together any number of elements that are disconcerting. The guy writing, the poetry,
Right.
all that,
But the film. I mean, you can read it as a straight narrative because it really is, but I don't really have to tell you it's a flashback scene, but that is apparent because there's no furniture in the house, and my making films and chainsaw and everything, it works on multiple layers of narrative that kind of ask you to to participate in a kind of way that we participate in video games now, which means we think about it and become a part of it.
Oh, wait a minute.
I think if this is a really Godardian scene, was that in your mind at all?
No, I don't. I think Toby Hooper was in my mind. Was in my mind here. Because to get this scene, I was out the window on the roof of the house, and shot this. I recall shooting this scene 3 times, and with a little more added to it each time, and it would. And then it took on its own life.
But was the dialogue scripted?
That dialogue, that dialogue was there in the first take. What I mean is the text. I mean the subtext and the nature of the conversation. and then it was manipulated a bit on the second take. I mean, what I mean by that is whatever corrections, suggestions were being made would say, well, okay, let's do it again, but put this into it, or say say something that you said at the end of it first, and then on the third take things got really organic, and I kind of had a way as I had a way as coming from the cinema verite world, so-called, of shooting, where I somehow just became part of the cast, a part of it. So my leading with the camera, when I'm at the long end of the zoom, panning with, from one to the other at the right time, because I got it. I became a part of it, the spirit of it.
One of the things I like about the movie is the pacing. So you have that pixelated thing with the ghost, and then you have a long, leisurely take like this. And so you never get comfortable with the tone, because you're always playing around with the grammar of the cinema grammar.
Anything if you're first using the term wrong, though.
So how should I do it?
You should just tell him he doesn't know what communism is, and he won't believe you, and he'll blow you off, and you'll blow him off, and we'll run away, and he can never hassle us again his whole life.
What?
Zonk.
Yeah, and he won't get any more money either.
Money.
We'll starve to death.
Brown rice.
We may not
$5
even get the $500 he's going to give us for a wedding present. After he sees our wedding, he may not. Oh, I thought of a couple more people I want to invite.
The conversation, though, is so real in a way.
It is, because it is connected to their life, and into their the wedding was real. Oh yeah, here we are. Ben Skabarsik's many visions of himself, and this character is rather amazed that he's there, and is painting himself and trying to figure out who he is.
And again, one of the things for the generations after that is they don't really understand the extent of commitment and involvement and culture and discussion that was going on at that point, and the film captures that.
Yes, Rich.
And see, and that's a woman who looks like him.
Yeah, no, well, that's a part of his.
Oh, okay.
He's not quite. He's coming to terms with being at this point anyway, because he's conjured up by that electric presence, and therefore it makes it much harder for him to slip into this dimension that we're in right now. But he is in that room. I mean, the spirit of him is. I really enjoyed doing this scene from one angle, and doing it in jump cuts, and I had a lot of comedic fun with making on these cuts. I mean, turning like that, and then I worked the pacing up where we're like this, and the pacing gets tighter, and yeah, right.
I love these kind of scenes.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, in this day and time, experimenting with film and with the film grammar was, and that was the comical button on that.
Well, and the whole idea is it opens up the language. It says this is more poetic. There's Sharon with Alan. I think it's either an early Wenders or an early Herzog. It's mostly Planes Landing to Leonard Cohen music.
Yeah.
Half the film, I think, is Planes Landing to Leonard Cohen music.
Yeah. And then the party starts.
Yep. I like the fireworks sign a lot.
Yeah, the fireworks sign is great. Also, now Malin is being reintroduced in this film for the first time since we saw her coming to school.
Oh, okay. So,
So-
this is the scene where she joined.
Right, right. And this is when the character toes, and they decide to make out, or more than that on the steps there.
I'm listening to you now. It makes the film. I miss when the couple of times I watched it, that whole linear dimension, that where it's actually telling a coherent story, and which is why this commentary is great. Look at that shirt.
Yeah, that's sure. Yeah. Okay, there she is, Malin,
Right.
that's new in town.
Ah, those were the days.
Yeah, those were truly the days.
They were the days. Look at Alan. He's wearing a Nehru kind of.
Yes, yeah. I had a Nehru shirt and a Nehru jacket at one time. I don't know.
Sharon's much quieter than she will eventually. I mean, she seems submissive in a way, which is a word I had never used in connection with Sharon before.
Yeah, sure, Sharon's great. Alan, I like this scene. I like that there. What I like about this scene, one of the things that I like a lot, is that they're truly enjoying themselves, and it's kind of like the times. I mean, we're so loose and free, and you know, I get the sense with this, and actually, and making the film, I felt that there was a lot of time left, you know, and a lot of progress that can be made, and the potential of some kind of utopian future, and I say that word, you know, very, very loosely and open to interpretation. It really means happiness, and you know, the whole flower thing, what it was about.
Well, it's also a time where there is not a lot of independent filmmaking. And when we were talking before about Corman's The Trip, or films like that portrayed the counterculture, they're so completely artificial. And this takes place in the kind of houses people lived in, where they're dressed the way they dress, where they talk about the way they talk. And I think that is a wonderful record. Plus, it really helps drive the film in a way.
Yeah, and there's so much, and the film crew, we're kind of living in the place. There's a scene coming up where Amy wakes David in the morning, and I should get back to that when it shows that, but here you see that he does not interact. I think one person may look at him, but it was the only take I had, and.
So he's kind of a spirit in a way.
He's a kind of a spirit, of the psychedelic energy. Or he's going to find himself in a few moments. He's going to start to understand what he is when he's introduced to these energies that are kind of the spirit of the psychedelic movement of that sounds bad. The psychedelic reality.
Well, it's the texture, the energy,
and a kind of a fantasy that's realized. I mean, here, you know, I couldn't help myself, but his discovering the sword here to put you know, some twinkle and glitter and beauty in this, and the sword juxtaposed to the old toilet. You'll find that kind of thing all through the movie.
Well, and again, a lot of that period is about learning to be comfortable with yourself and with your environment, which is what he's going through.
It is, yeah. It's that looking in the mirror for the first time at a certain age, at a certain psychological time, and being comfortable with what you see. And we've been so good to been able to just freeze that moment and stay there always.
What happened with this guy?
I don't know. I haven't seen him in many years, but I'd wanted him for Chainsaw, and that anyway that didn't happen. This scene took about 2 weeks to shoot because of the choreography. Here you see a zoom lens used with this sword exchanging, literally fighting with yourself. Or not literally, but fighting with oneself. But I choreographed it, and then left the camera running. Oh, here it is. I think it starts actually zooming.
Well, and also the lighting must have been very difficult.
The lighting was difficult, but on each of the takes, I didn't stop the camera. I would let him go do both sides of it because it was, I think it zooms here. That is a motorized zoom lens. But anyway, if I'd stopped the camera in 16 millimeter, like 2 perf pull down, the registration may have changed, so the jump cuts may have been obvious. But it took a long time to choreograph it, like what will happen if you do this, and then run around and receive the blows and give the blows.
Where'd you get the idea?
I don't know. It's just something, from editing, being an editor myself, and it's something that and a sound editor. I think maybe the sound of cutting on the sword clack and jumping to the other side. And I bypacked this in the Steenbeck and would cut it in two so I could line it up so I could make sure that my cuts were, right on the. And I love the party, the tweeter there. That gives you an idea of how kind it all is.
Well, and it's you use sound and editing and what we're seeing and characters. I mean, it's you can see there's a lot of exploration of how cinema works.
And this was a built set too, so I thought, oh, this is great. I get to build a set.
Have you seen Rick Linklater's first film, You Can't Learn to Plow by Reading Books?
No.
What it basically is there's the Godard shot, there's the outside the window looking into the laundromat shot, there's the Fassbinder shot. I mean, it really is like, you can see it's a preparation to make movies.
Charles, I wanted you to meet somebody. This is Malin. She's a friend of mine from art, but actually, this is the bum who lives here with us, and he's really fucked up, so you don't have to say hello.
All right, here's where Toz, T-O-Z, and Malin. She soon will move into the house with it.
Yeah. I wanted to ball David.
And the way you space throughout the kitchen, the bathtub, this scene so much, it really defines the house in a variety of ways.
That's such a.
Who's that guy? Do you know?
Billy. I don't know. Billy. I don't remember.
And she is the woman.
Yeah. You mean the one that tows it? I mean, she's looking.
Yeah, that one.
The
one downstairs. I'm just curious.
Oh no, I'm not sure I know which. Oh no, the one downstairs is just a party goer. So it's the one on the steps.
Right. Well, I know who the one on the steps is. I was just curious.
Oh no, it wasn't.
What?
No, the woman downstairs.
Yeah.
No.
I just was curious as to if she was anybody.
Nope. Now this was shot out behind Laguna Gloria. Is that at the art museum? I think this leads straight into. No. It will cut to that later. Okay, now that license plate says 1969, and
whose truck is that?
it was an old car we bought for like a couple $100 because it's it was made just for the movie, and then I had these two plexiglass bubbles that were just waiting for this moment in time. I mean, I totally love this shot.
Who made the bubbles?
I think those bubbles were made in San Antonio by some. I don't even know why anyone would need a plastic bubble.
Wayne Coyne, who's the head of Flaming Lips, the band, has a giant hamster ball. And during South by Southwest, sometimes he'll walk down 6th Street in his hamster ball.
Well, we will. That's great.
I think I'm getting Mark a hamster ball.
Yeah. That's it. I'm not even sure if this bubble was made. I can't remember if it was made for this car. And then having made it and having the mold. Anyway, that's this is okay. This is out in North Austin. That wasn't. There's a cinema and a North Cross Mall. That's what was plowed. Yeah.
Oh, so that was.
I mean, that was like, and we'll travel later through Austin single frame through many miles of it, which is.
Well, it is amazing to see Austin.
To see what it is, and to see what wasn't there at the time.
When I came in '74, and then I moved there in '76, and until about '81 or '82, it was a small town, and then it started growing and changing. So now
I like this.
This couple is. Are they the ones who get married?
Yes.
Yeah. And they're, I mean, they. And so they're. Is this? So they're driving around.
Driving
they're
around
white.
in this thing called car, and I think it's Toes is driving, and then Malin is in the front seat, and this is where she's been invited to move into the house. And
there it is.
Yeah.
Mark, look away from the screen.
And
Oh, look at that.
yeah. And cut in the middle of the action. I'm fond of this scene too, about Nacogdoches and where are you from. And then this, I don't know. It was, the house does have its own life, and we'll get to the special effects when it gets back there, because and this took all night to do. I mean, and it was like, and then to get the rainbow to animate, I forgot how you used. I had to run the film back. I had some special device attached to the shutter that would only shoot every other frame. But there was something, I don't know what exactly, I don't quite remember.
Did you know Jack, what was his last name, was doing animation around this time?
Oh yeah, Jack was one of the, he wasn't one of the partners, but he worked at Film House. And we bought an Oxbury animation stand for Jack.
I was born in Denison.
Oh, Jack was great. His
What's Jack's
animation.
last name? It'll come to me.
Yeah, it's amazing to.
Ron also did this stuff?
Yeah, Ron was. You mean in part of Film House?
Well, and part of this, I thought he was into doing special effects like this.
Yeah, Ron and I were best of friends, and he. I know he ran one of the cameras in the car explosion later. But he was part of Filmhouse. He may have been doing some, legitimate paying film work at the time. But Lou was with me, his brother, mostly every minute of the time through this shoot. He was my assistant director.
Here's a breast action shot.
Yeah, and I love this line that he kept saying. He had this expression, Kim, is fuck around, get yourself hurt, something like that.
Was that and
And
was
so
there a
I had
real relationship between the two of them, or is this just a film?
I think whatever it was over when the film was over.
If only life was like that.
If only life was like that, and
Nice intense.
and thank goodness, when I first discovered Mylar and the magic, the opening of Seconds, James Wong Howe and the mouth and the eye. This is the way it was done with pulling, Mylar, stretching it, and I thought, well, take this and I'll just shoot lights. So it was like a light show, like old Armadillo World Headquarters light show.
Joshua light show. There were a lot of light shows. Seconds is one of those movies that I saw in a revival house, and then sometime later I was visiting friends and it was on TV, and I said, you gotta watch, it's gonna blow your mind. And the commercial's totally screwed up. It has none of the power it has as a movie.
Yeah. Here we go. There's no telling whatever's happening there is good.
I believe it implies sexual.
I'm
not sure.
No,
it's been so long.
Of that I'm positive.
Mylar sex.
Yeah, Mylar sex and modern sex to it. I think at this point,
Back then, people really knew how to have sex.
They sure did.
It was invented then.
Nothing casual.
No, and it would go on as much longer than this sequence actually. And then,
God, I remember those days.
Oh God. And it could go on for days.
We were younger.
Yeah, yes. Oh, everything just, the electricity.
It was a good time.
Oh, goodness. I think
Mark was busy making films with Doug Holloway, so he didn't enjoy much of it.
God. Oh, yeah, here we go. Now this is, you'll see the lightning orgasm. You will see the suggested electrical sperm is what this is about.
And Bob Burns referred to the electrical sperm as
probably just that. Lightning sperm.
Lightning sperm. And again, you have those scenes that are so realistic, and some of them were long takes, and then you have these kind of scenes. So the movie really is disconcerting in a way, but in a positive way.
When this showed at the Texas Theater, down from the Varsity, and I think John Buston.
I was telling stories about John Buston just the other day.
There was some review too. John Buston was great.
I was telling you Russ Meyer stories. John Buston's the one. We had lunch with Russ Meyer once, and he had Frances Kitten, that Tiva dad, with him. Yeah. And after lunch, she went over to John Buston and opened her shirt and said, "Russ said you'd want to see these." And my friend Ed and I were like a comic act bumbling into each other, trying to get out of the room before we had to see them because it was just too bizarre. John was a very sweet man.
He certainly was. I think when he reviewed the film, he said, that yeah, the theater was just full of smoke. I mean, the air was.
He meant the film was so electric.
Yeah, he meant
No.
he meant mash. Now this scene, this was set the camera up the night before, light it the night before, let them go to sleep, sneak in the house, and wait for them to wake. And
So did they know they were being filmed?
yeah, oh, they knew.
Yeah.
They knew about it, but the thing is, they were truly, really waking up, and we were in there with the cameras, and I was behind the camera, and it was pre-lit, and just for that,
Now,
just to do that.
yeah, no, I mean that's so cool. About how many times was Eggshells shown in its initial go around?
I don't. Less than 50 times.
So even
I mean,
at this
listen.
point, it's been screened.
It's been the lost movie until we had the screening at South by Southwest, and then the crowd the other day was possibly the largest audience.
He
it's
at one
played.
point said, "Has anybody seen this movie?" And only the two Fright Frets. I didn't raise my hand because I was thinking of ways to torture Mark. But nobody raised their hand because I mean it was 50 times in Texas. It's just not a widely seen film.
I did it. I at the spoke at the Cinematheque in L.A. a couple of weeks ago, and someone in the audience asked about Eggshells and said that, and she said it was her favorite film. A young woman, and she had a press book that Robert Burns made that I later signed for her.
Did you get her name?
No, I didn't. It was one of those. I may be able to track it down.
It would be great to see that press book.
Yeah, and the press book had all the ads in it just cut out to put in the paper.
Oh yeah, definitely. We should. Or
And I saw that press book and I thought, wow, God, it was just there was so much other. They were showing Funhouse and then Chainsaw again, and then but she was there really to talk about Eggshells. I'm sure that she's a film person that will be able to, through the Cinematheque, be able to track her.
It would be when this year at South by Southwest, we showed a copy of Cannibal Girls, which is Ivan Reitman's first film, and it's not very good, but it's his first film, and this is a restored print. And Jason Reitman, is that his name?
Yeah.
Showed up because he was driving cross country, he was bummed about some stuff, and we were hanging out, and I gave him the press kit because I had the press book from the first release of Cannibal Girls, so I gave it to him to give to his dad. Right now in Toronto, there's somebody saying, "Now who had that press?" No.
That press book.
So Burns did it.
Burns did it.
When Burns died, where did all that stuff go?
I don't know.
Burns had the largest Rondo Hatton collection with posters and stills of anybody. You know who Rondo Hatton is?
Yeah.
Rondo Hatton,
The Creeper.
The Creeper. He had like some variant of an elephantitis or something. Yeah. So he looked horrifying. He wasn't. He was a sweet guy, but he was in 5 or 6 movies. And with Burns, because Burns was a little obsessive.
Yes.
He was in Hunchback of Notre Dame in a window, and Burns had found the still with him in the window.
Is that right?
Yeah. The Brute Man, The Creeper, maybe 6 movies.
Yeah, and
Kind of a state or something.
there's a little series of The Creeper.
Robert Burns?
Yeah.
You don't know. Oh, because Burns had a pinball machine that was, I think it was a woman. I mean, he made wonderful props.
Oh, he did.
But who knows?
I don't know.
He directed a film with Lynn Sullivan producing called Mongrel.
Yeah.
Lynn Rider?
I don't remember. She's out to kill me anyway, so.
Tell her to stay in line.
Oh.
Chumps.
Oh yeah. Now he's going to be distilled and projected here. This is my music in here. This.
It's interesting that a lot of your generation and the next one of horror filmmakers did a lot of their own music. Carpenter did his music.
Yes.
Dario Argento.
Yeah.
Was that more coming out of the one-man band approach to?
Yeah, that was like after I got that, once the spoons became one instrument, that you could. But I got broken like smashed kotos and violins that were out of tune
Well, also real primitive synthesizers were becoming available.
I forgot what I used to make those sounds. That hairdryer had been sitting in front of a store for out north North Austin, in front of some store for years and years, and I always wanted to buy it, and that's what it was there, and I got it. This activity happening in his head now. It was a process that I had clear leader, not white leader, but absolutely see-through acrylic leader that I stretched out a couple of 100 feet of it on the floor there at Film House, and I had translucent spray paint cans, and I would just go along and go just put fine little driplets.
That's beautiful.
And it animates. I mean, each frame is different, but it moves, and it probably shouldn't be telling my tricks, but
I think it's safe to do it now.
It is. The movie's old enough.
Yeah. I think I could be wrong, Toby, but I think.
I don't think any. I mean, it looks like dirty film in a way.
Michael Bay may rip it off for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the younger version.
Maybe.
He's already claiming to be Toby's illegitimate son.
Who, Michael Bay?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, then. Here's something. There's one thing in this scene that is probably the luckiest thing that I ever got on film, and it's with and it's one of those happy accidents that, I mean, with special effect, you could CGI make it happen easy enough, but her conviction that this is going to be the perfect light when she's lighting this joint that's going out, and perfect sync with the shrinking of the flame, and she blows the moment, is just truly one of the. And I hate to say it, but I don't know that stuff they're smoking. It's possible it was real. I don't know.
You should say you did that deliberately. 12 takes to get it
Oh,
right.
damn it. I should have said that. Well, Mark, make me say that.
Mark will make it. Mark's going to make the whole thing.
Yes.
What was the story about the actors striking?
Who told you that?
Oh, just a little birdie.
Oh my God!
Are you talking birdies again?
No, yeah, he is talking birdies, and I said that I wasn't going to talk about that.
Oh, all right.
But you have to.
And I
know.
told the birdie that I wasn't going to talk about it.
But the actors struck.
They did.
Why was that?
Oh, it was over. It was over a very pure reason and a pure cause, but
It wasn't because it wasn't real pot.
yeah, that's exactly why. Probably had something to do with catering or something.
Yeah, from what I understand, Chainsaw was one of the most brutal shoots of all time.
Oh, it was
And they didn't strike.
no, they didn't. And
Of course, Ed Neal was there.
yeah, that's right. I love this weaving around the light bulbs. I used to use the zoom lens to the 12 to 120 ingenue before motorizing it. I mean, I'm cranking the thing. I shot so much footage that I could handhold and crank that zoom as though it was a motorized zoom, and pull focus at the same time.
From when you finished shooting it to how long did it take you to edit?
Another 9 months. I mean, it way did, because I had about 60 hours of footage, and then there were other pieces and parts of the story that I dumped and got rid of.
That's still exactly the same.
Yeah, this thing. I guess this thing was there.
Oh,
back
so there were some subplots that you got rid of.
that I got rid of.
The traveling prophet.
Yeah, the traveling prophet. It got too dark. It didn't belong in this world. It just wasn't a part of this
I
world.
feel that way about all traveling prophets.
Yeah. He was a bit heavy too. I mean, he was very.
Well, how are you imagining your career at this point? Because you were thinking about like what you might do next. The other day you were talking about doing musicals. And
Yeah.
if this had gone well, what do you think you would have done next?
A comedy. A comedy, and I think, or some kind of fantasy. But you know, I never really plotted out a career, and I know very successful directors who have, and you know, the career and what to do and the certain time window in which to do it, to release it, to get you know, the maximum exposure. But you know, that's one of those things that when I made my wish to be a movie director, it's one of those, you know, watch out what you wish for, and if you do, make sure it's complete.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's one of those things where monkey spoil. You have 3 wishes.
Yeah.
You wish to be a movie director? Sure.
Yeah. And then the second was, do you wish to be a movie director? Sure. And the third wish, you want to be a director? And sure.
And do you want to have a really successful movie? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I just so love making movies. I just wanted to make movies.
Did you ever show this to Friedkin?
No, Friedkin hasn't seen this. No, he hasn't.
Well, remember, almost
Well,
nobody has.
Yeah.
Except, of course, you've probably been sending out DVDs
You wish.
to all the pirates.
I love this casting
Who's the chick?
Oh, I can't remember her name.
You're kind
But
of a
they all-
disappointment when it comes to these chicks.
I'm a disappointment when it comes to memory, actually, sometimes too, especially this long ago. I kind of this took a long time to do because the crew was myself and was Lou, and I believe it was Wayne Bell. And we had to blow these, do a helium job on every morning. It took days and days to shoot because of the different colored balloon whirls he goes through. And also we've traveled. Now we're back at behind Laguna Gloria, and before that we were in Eastwoods Park. That is, that's what I don't even know if it's there still.
Behind Laguna Gloria still looks like this. Or did
It
the
does?
last time I looked, which was a few years back. There weren't any balloons. But
Yeah, the balloons should have been
they were
gone by now. But so it still has those vines.
Yeah, no, I mean it's still densely
Dense, yeah.
overgrown, and
Yes.
it hasn't been developed. There's probably not as much of it as there once was.
It's truly beautiful back there. That's Spencer Perskin's music.
Spencer spent a lot of time going to jail.
For what?
Yeah.
Marijuana.
Yeah.
You get out of jail, you'd smoke a lot of marijuana. That's in the back to jail.
So just possession? He wasn't even selling?
I think so. It certainly wasn't a criminal.
Yeah, oh no, it wasn't.
You know,
It
I
wasn't
mean,
criminals.
this is back when they would commit Rocky to the mental hospital.
Yeah. The criminal part of that was that it was criminal. It was,
Yeah. Oh,
it
yeah.
was insane.
And Texas was crazy.
To arrest people.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it was a repressive state.
No special dispensation for being in Austin.
Raymond Frank becomes the sheriff at some point, who's like a hippie sheriff. But you could still get in trouble. And now, I mean, to this day, if you're in Williamson or Hayes counties that border Travis, you can get into serious trouble. Because they pride themselves on being Neanderthals.
Well, so he's found a mate. This one I recall 3 takes on, 3 maybe 5. That's a 5.7 millimeter lens, and I wanted to get that kind of beauty frosting on it. I was reaching up and rubbing my the sweat. It was so hot, and there's the sweat off my brow, and then kind of touching the lens. So I mean,
She's standing
more
on
organic
the
in
stool
one
where
get.
she flew
Yeah,
in.
she's standing on a stool.
Is that Sharon in the foreground?
That's Sharon. Yes.
Cute.
Yeah. Yeah. They,
There's Alan, yeah.
And at the time, was there kind of a prejudice against marriage? Why bother?
well, well, yes. I mean, that did exist, and I obviously not with David and Amy, because working back from that, the wedding day. Had the wedding day not had something else happened, then that would have been. It wouldn't have hurt anything that was being.
How long were they married?
I don't know. I think they were still married after Chainsaw, because that's when I moved out to California.
It took us a lot longer to grow up there. We were in no rush.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Didn't
because there were
even-
generations where they couldn't wait to get married and have kids because they felt that made them grown-ups. We knew better.
And this may have been something encouragement from the parents. I mean, I don't know that to be a fact.
Sharon and Alan were already married.
Yeah, they were. Yeah,
There's another subtext of being a Southern Jew as well.
Well, and marrying Sharon, who was not a Jew, there was probably tension either from both sides. You can bet there was tension from one side. I'm not saying that I know this, but I would bet there was probably tension from both sides. A Jew marrying a non-Jew, and she came from a Texas family. They hate Jews.
But in Amy's dialogue throughout this film, she's mildly aware of it. Mostly.
yeah,
Pretty good for a Jew, don't you think?
yeah,
She'll say.
yeah.
Somebody asked me if after 30 years in Austin I feel like a Texan. And I said, I'm pretty sure my son, who's 20 years old and was born in Austin, is still not a Texan. I mean, I think it's got to be 3 generations.
To be a Texan.
Yeah.
yeah.
Regardless of religion.
Oh, yeah. Well, and Austin always had a Jewish community for a long time.
I'm not sure I'm a Texan just because I was from Austin, and Austin is unique to any other.
I believe growing up in hotels makes you a Texan.
That maybe so, probably it does.
It's a very
I'm
Texan kind of thing.
Yeah, it is a Texan kind of thing.
See, growing up as a Jew in Teaneck, New Jersey, not a Texan.
Yeah, I'd mentioned earlier what you're about to see. This character Henry Holly, that knew dynamite and knew primer cable and napalm like no one else knew it around there, and he'd done some pyro work for a couple of. One war film that was being made that Ron Perryman shot that was never finished, and then something else that helped set this explosion up because I needed for the car to disappear. But in this time, I remember before this movie was made. When I was after the heisters, when I was like maybe 20 years old, down on Riverside Drive there was a dynamite store, and you could just go buy dynamite by the stick, and the primer cable they would say, or the explosive caps, and then they would say you should probably put the dynamite and when you're traveling in the car with it, put it in a different part of the car from the caps.
Good advice.
It was. And so, but what I did, not knowing really, because I would go out in the country and find a dead tree and gaffer or with string, wrap a stick of dynamite around an old dead tree branch and blow it up. But I did need more information because I would carry like a half dozen caps in my pocket right over my heart, and they were jangling around, and then I got to in target shooting, I would prime I'd put the damn copper shielded cap in the stick of dynamite and put it way away. And shoot it with my 22 and watch boom. It was, I mean, you could carry a stick of dynamite in your back pocket.
There, up until the last couple of years, just a few storefronts down from the Continental Club was just guns.
Is there?
And they would run commercials at night that you thought were Saturday Night Live commercials. Just guns, we have whatever you need. Yeah. You gotta love Texans that respect the tradition.
Now Lou said this didn't quite work at first.
The initial explosion?
See, I love
Yeah.
the foregrounds. Of
Oh
the
yeah,
ants.
the ants. Yeah, there was something. That's right. There was that explosion, and then the car falls in a hole. I had to use a cutaway. Yeah, and Henry Holly had to go back in there, and the first blast disconnected the wires from the third or second stage. I'd forgotten that. But
See, that was always the problem with things like dynamite, which was if it didn't go off,
to
do
go,
you go up and look at it, or do you
Yeah.
just get the hell out of there?
but I'd forgot. Yeah, because we were all hiding, and I mean, when Henry Holly went back in to check it out, I mean, everyone was behind a rock or something, because there was a couple hundred feet of primer cord wrapped around a 50-gallon drum of napalm that caused the damn fireball.
Nothing unsafe about that.
No, no.
Did you do this at the same time as the other one, or did you do this?
I think it did. I don't think it would have gotten on the roof again out there twice. I think it may not have been the same day, but it probably was. It was probably. I don't know. No, I'm not sure, because my first picture in L.A. when I saw the board, the schedule, scared the hell out of me. I mean, you have to shoot out everything in a room at one time. It's the most cost-effective way to do it. I mean, this was not shot in any kind of sequence, but I may very well have revisited the same house and all. And so, but I may not have. I mean, I don't see why I would, other than maybe perhaps in the development of it. I don't know, actually.
One of the really annoying
really
things about Robert Rodriguez is he'll show you how to do one long take and then cut it to use in 6 different places.
Yeah.
And I don't understand a word he's saying. Like, oh, it's easy. You just do it and you go, Robert, you're a genius.
Robert, I saw on El Mariachi, his dailies.
His 10-minute film school.
Yeah, and they were like on the head and the tail of a shot, maybe 6 or 8 frames. I mean, almost edited in the camera. And I mean, instead of the conventional way of doing it, but the way I do it is shoot and get more than I need, and decide later exactly where to make the cut. But Robert's early work was like so close.
The 10-minute film school has this stuff where it's explained to you, well, you can do this one take and then cut it into 6, and you sit there and you're going, what the fuck are you talking about, Robert?
And I always thought, my goodness.
It's like, I was talking to Robert once, and he goes, why he likes to use digital more than film. He doesn't. You're watching Hannibal, and there's the background is black, but those blacks are inconsistent. I said, maybe for you they're inconsistent, but for me they work just fine. But I mean, the way he deals with cinema is amazing to me.
Yeah, I mean, he shoots right close to the cut.
Yep. Well, he loves that stuff.
Yeah.
Look what it's done for me.
Nothing. At least Toes writes. Maybe he'll make...
That's what's wrong with Toes.
Why?
Is that he has one thing.
No, at least Toes has something. You don't have anything. Now, Malin's did get, she...
Did you end up shooting in one house by chance? It wasn't like a lot of filmmakers go to one location to save money. In Eggshells' case, it just happened because that's what you wanted to do.
Yeah. I mean, it was one house, but the basement was a different place. I'm talking about the stairs in the basement wasn't there. That was underneath the where the UT film school had moved to from. Well, when Trevinian was, and there was an old building that I love this wedding. But anyway, no, the house was three different locations actually made into a composite.
And let the winds of the heavens dance between you. Love one another, but make not a bond of love. Let it rather be a moving sea between the shores of your souls. Fill each other's cup, but drink not from one cup. Give one another of your bread, but eat not from the same loaf. Sing and dance together and be joyous, but let each of you be alone. For even as the strings of a lute are alone, though they quiver with the same music. Give your hearts, but not into each other's keeping, for only the hand of life can contain your hearts. And stand together, yet not too near together, for the pillars of the temple, as the pillars of the structure, stand apart, and the oak tree and the cypress grow not in each other's shadow. As you publicly declare in the exchange of the symbol of the ring before your community.
Now, a chainsaw, you just use one house, right?
Yeah, yes, yeah.
The other thing I like is this movie's bookended by 2 documentary sequences. And what I'm telling people, the connection to Eggshells is really that sensibility. And in the opening scenes, you kind of have that feel.
Documentary.
Well, in the sense that Chainsaw, the opening scenes feel like it's a documentary about hippies. You know, the narrative doesn't really kick in.
John Larroquette, is that it?
Yeah, that's John.
He does the voiceover. He's somebody I'd love to meet. He's such a gifted actor.
Yeah.
In so many ways.
Yeah, John.
And he showed up in the oddest places.
Yeah, yes. I'd always remembered the rabbi being an older man, but maybe that's because he's a rabbi. That's it, Louis.
I don't mean that in anything.
No, I know, but it's...
See, the good thing is, from the time they call to when they get up here, it's an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, it is. I've forgotten that song. There's a man that looks at the bottom of his shoe, I believe it's coming up.
So you got a couple of people with radio mics on? What are you doing here?
Yeah, they're radio mics, and then I think maybe Wayne is out there lurking in the group with a microphone.
There's Alan hitting on another woman already.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to come get some cake?
One of the great things about University of Texas is they always had a lot of film equipment, and if you knew the right people, you could access it. And if you didn't, you couldn't.
Yeah, totally love this day.
This is such a Texas, Austin gathering.
It is.
Except nobody's smoking pot, so.
Yeah, well. And they probably already had. But that bandstand must have been there since the 1800s.
Well, it's still there.
Yeah, thank goodness. Thank goodness it's still there. And I like this. This is a strange breeze that blows through where they're all looking, and it's a very weird moment that I
What happened to Malin? Is that really
Malin went to New York and became an actress. Brown, became stage actress.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which one's Malin?
The Kim Henkel love interest.
Yeah,
okay.
The girl that begins the movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what kind of stage work did she do?
I don't recall. I don't remember. I do remember writing to me and then sending me headshots and things later. But I mean, it's like
I'll have to go look it up. What's her last name?
Foreman. in that this film got, well, it should pose that a different way. Since the movie virtually didn't get any play dates other than playing around college campuses.
So it played in Austin and in Dallas?
Austin, Dallas, Miami,
Nacogdoches?
and possibly, probably not Nacogdoches. Well, maybe, but at any rate, it didn't make any money. It did win some awards, and it was written up in American cinematography, and the special effects part of it was celebrated, like special effects that Herb Lightman had never seen before. And but it didn't make any money, so then I had to start all over again doing something, and I certainly couldn't afford movie stars for a film to break out, and so that's when I decided a horror film was the only way to get enough drive-in theater play dates to then get another job.
And this is before.
And that's when Chainsaw.
And this is before the film festivals.
Yeah.
And you realize what a different, because if there had been festivals, this would have had another life.
It would have.
Oh, so, look at Austin.
Yeah, this is Austin, and I think this is a Bolex, and I'm standing. I have a cable release, and so the speed is changing. I'm just sensing it out and popping off a frame as I feel like it. That's out by where that is. That's out. The county line that's behind us.
That's all developed now.
Yeah, it's all developed.
Yes, I know where we are.
It's I've forgotten the name of that. Oh, that's 2222, isn't it?
It could be.
Or it is 2222.
I remember, where the Soap Creek Saloon in the Hills, which was my favorite club, and now that's all suburbs. Not suburbs even, it's in town.
And I've already passed. Now this is somewhere in North Austin, working our way back into the city.
We're
going to see the. Okay, now we're okay. We're coming upon the old fire station jump thing.
Oh, there, yeah.
And
oh my God.
Yeah. And you can see the Capitol.
They passed laws that you could not block the Capitol view, but then because it's Texas, they made exceptions to the point now we can't see the Capitol.
You can't see it. Yes, right. Well, yeah. Unless you're right looking down Congress Avenue, and it's dwarfed now. The Capitol is by the.
Well, this looks like you went into the Oxbury after all.
Yeah. No. What? I had 3 or 4 different prints made and slipped it, so and faded each one in. So looks to me like this.
I remember
at least 3, maybe 4.
Being in Austin where it looked exactly like this.
Like this?
Yeah.
No,
lots of times.
It looked that way to me a lot of times as well. I mean that's where this came from. And I want people to see what it looked like, the way I saw it exactly. Yeah, but the skyline there, I must say, is just beautiful in Austin.
When I first came, there was maybe 2 high-rises, and they weren't even that big.
Yeah. I'm really happy that power plant down by the river is, the neon is still there, yes. Right? The neon.
Well, and they keep talking about
you can see
renovating it for another use, but then it falls apart.
Thank goodness. You can see. This scene shows the progress.
Students were chaining themselves to these trees to prevent them from being knocked down.
Oh, yeah.
So, did many students lose their lives?
No.
I'll tell you, I think Austin really protects its trees.
More
I
than
mean,
a lot of places.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's I guess what I'm getting at is there's a lot of political subtext to some of this that at the time, seeing some a mechanized unit knocking down trees
Yeah.
would have had a resonance.
And it was before the green thing. It was about beauty. It was about art. It was about nature. It was about the preservation of some wonder.
So where's this now?
Now that's just what I called Eastwoods Park, and it's very close to the to UT. And
I know right where it is.
Yeah, and there's a street behind us that maybe the name of the street's Eastwood.
If you're going down 26th, it's to the right.
Yeah.
See, they get sucked up.
They get purified. Here comes the
mark.
Yeah. And now here.
Where's that contraption?
This is the good stuff.
Cellar.
Yeah. All right. And so, I don't know, that contraption was left in the backyard of the house. My house when I moved away from Austin.
So this is their pure spirit.
This is their pure spirit.
Disguised as marijuana smoke.
Yeah.
Why not?
And right, and there's a little sound effect coming up as it goes through the trees. A little.
So in many ways, the whole film is a metaphor for pot and getting high.
And other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, 40 years.
I'm tracking.
Pamela Craig, that's who the...
I'm tracking on all these women. They got to be loose. They're in their 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, maybe not. Maybe not that. Maybe, but it could.
Kidding.
But goodness.
Rod Davis.
Wayne Bell. And Robert Elkins has turned into a really good first AD.
Lou.
Yeah, Lou and I, gosh. Lou got to see the movie.
I know. I'm so proud of both this and Whole Shooting Match that Lou had his dignity restored.
Yes.
That it wasn't, I used to be someone. He was doing panels. He was, he was being taken care of.
Yeah. Yeah.
My name's not bigger than yours, Mar.
It's not bigger than anyone's.
It's supposed to be bigger. You promised. No. No. That's one of the things I'm proudest about. I would much rather have Lou here with us, but I'm very proud of the fact that he got some of his mojo back.
Me too. God bless you.